The benefits of whole food nutrition compared to feeding a highly processed diet. I think a good example of that illustrates this point very well is a kitty that I used to see at my office. His name was Lewis. And Lewis came to me after having seen multiple veterinarians for some chronic skin issues, itching, allergies, scabby skin. He was so uncomfortable that he was literally like pulling out tufts of his hair. And you know, all of these standard veterinary drugs had been tried, and nothing really worked. And the owner came to me really looking for help. One of the first things that I did for Lewis was to talk to the owner about getting him off of dry and canned cat food and onto a fresh whole food diet. Now, anybody that has kitties knows that they're kind of particular, and sometimes these diet conversions can take a little time with cats. But ultimately we were able to get there, and within a matter of a month or two of having started on the new diet, Lewis's skin and fur started to improve, and 2 to 3 months down the road, his allergies were nearly completely resolved with almost no other therapy. You know, this is a really excellent example of how just a nutritional change can make an enormous difference in a pet's life. So what's really the difference between a fresh whole food diet and a processed food like kibble or canned food? You know, I mean, if you look on the label of most kibble and canned foods, they will lead you to believe that it's effectively a fresh whole food diet, but in a bag or in a can. Well, you know, the reality is a little bit more complicated than that. You know, regardless of how good the food ingredients that went in at the beginning of the process, you know, by the time they get down the production line and they're processed and cooked at really high temperatures, very frequently a lot of nutrition has been lost, and a lot of chemical compounds may have been produced that actually create inflammation and create medical problems. Now, in addition to that, if you look at a lot of pet food labels, you may see ingredients like meat meal, so for example, chicken meal, that sort of thing, or meat byproducts, beef byproducts, these sorts of things. You know, meal and byproducts are not by definition bad food ingredients. The problem is it's a really non-specific term. So if you've ever looked on an ingredients label for people and you saw something that said, you know, product may contain one or more of the following ingredients, I always personally find that a little disconcerting, but it's a similar thing with meal and byproducts, is that we don't know exactly what that means. So it could be that it was just meat scraps, and that's nutritionally fine. It could be that it was really low quality ingredients that ultimately lead to low quality pet food. And because we don't know what was in those ingredients, and quite frankly, the ingredients of the meal or the byproducts can actually change from batch to batch. So even though you're buying the same pet food, the nutritional analysis may actually be changing each time you buy a new food. So you know, bear in mind that any food that has those ingredients in it are really best to avoid. So Lewis and Popeye are really good examples of pets whose lives were improved when they got away from processed foods and into fresh whole food diets. You know, just like with people, you know, a pet's body is sort of the summation of their life's experiences. So everything that they've eaten, everything that they've done, everything that they've experienced makes up what their physical being is at this moment. Now, as people, you know, we may occasionally eat the wrong thing. We may eat junk food. We may eat processed food, but then, you know, most of us will then go back and for the most part eat good, healthy food. The thing about our pets is, if we're feeding them highly processed foods with substandard ingredients in it, this is something that they're eating every meal, every day for their entire life. The cumulative effect of this kind of nutrition is bound to cause problems down the road.